welcome you all back, friends. I welcome you all. This is Engineer Down Online Maths class. Please like the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel. Okay. When you subscribe, whenever I upload a video, you keep following it. You learn mathematics. You know math 101. Then you get back to school, just blast it. Get your A's easily. Okay. Now this is just continuation of the previous class. We are actually treating indices. Okay, now let's continue with the laws. Now this is the number 6 law. This law is called the fractional index law. Though we have two fractional index laws here, this number 6 and number 7, but they are treated the same way. Now let me explain this so that I see it. With this, you're able to get this easily. Now, when you have a fractional index in indices, the denominator of the index is the root, while the numerator of the index is the power. What do I mean? 1 over m here is the index. I'm saying the denominator of the index becomes the root of the base a, while the numerator of the index, this is the denominator, let me just put it down there, while this is the numerator, right? While the numerator of the index becomes the power, okay? Now, this explanation explains law 6 and law 7. Just in law 6, the numerator is 1, while in law 7, the numerator can be any value. Okay, let me give examples. Suppose we have x raised to 1 over 3. The law says the denominator is the root, so that makes it cube root of what? X. Then raised to power 1, but you know that one doesn't really matter. N raised to power 1, it's 1, right? So it doesn't really matter, it doesn't affect it. Coming to law 7, suppose we have 4 raised to power 3 over 2. Don't forget the denominator is the root. So we have square root, right? Square root of 4 all raised to power 3. I just included 2 there so that you know that's square root, right? Okay, now square root of 4 is what? 2 raised to power 3. 2 raised to power 3 is what? 8. Easy, right? With the laws, solving indices becomes very easy. Very, very easy. Okay. Now let's move on to the next law. Okay. The next law is the product power law. Okay. All right. You can have an example this way. Suppose we have, and so we have x, y, z raised to power 3. Right? This is simply x cubed, y cubed, z cubed. You can have it, let me use numbers. We have something like, let's say, 2mn raised to power 3. Right? Okay, if you want to solve, let me just solve this down here. You have 2 raised to power 3, m raised to power 3, n raised to power 3. 2 raised to power 3 is what? 8m cubed n cubed. That's the final answer. Example for number 8, law 8. Okay. Let's move on to the law 9. Law 9 is, let's say, still the same thing with the power law, but I just had to include this because I don't know. Some students don't know that what happens when it's dividing and what's multiplying. When it's multiplying, it's the same thing. Example, if you have something like, let's say, 3 over 4. Okay, and reduce this to 2 raised to power 3. Now the power here affects the numerator and the denominator of this fraction. That makes it 3 raised to power 3 and 2 raised to power 3. 3 raised to power 3 is what? We have 27 here, and we have 2 raised to power 3, that's 16. No, that's not 16. That's 8. Sorry for that. 27 over 8. If it's reducible, you reduce it. If not, that's your answer, 27 over 8. That's simple. Okay. Now, with these laws we've explained, including the first 5 laws, I think we can do something and solve these questions. We can solve these questions. In the next class, we move on to integral equations and probably exponential equations and indices. You see, after that, we're done with indices. We'll move on to logarithm, then solve. Okay, for now, let's just solve some of these tasks, and as usual, you're ready to try yours too. Let's try yours. Okay. All right, the first one, we have 4 raised to minus 3 over 2, right? Right? You forgot the negative index law when you have a negative value here. The first thing to do, let's try and remove the negative value, right? If you remove negative value there, that becomes 1 over 4 raised to 3 over 2. The negative value is gone in the index with just 1 over that. From the law that says negative a to the minus m equals to 1 over a raised to n. From this law, this is it, from this law, you can simplify this to this, right? Okay. With that being said, from our fractional index, we can solve the denominator. From our fractional index, we can solve the denominator. And that is simply 1 over square root of 4. The denominator of the index becomes the root, or raised to power. The numerator becomes the what? Power. Right? And the square root of 4 is what? 2 raised to power 3. So we have 1 over 8. That's your answer. Simple, right? Very simple. Easy peasy, right? Okay. With that, I think you can solve B. Let's see. Let's solve C. Let's solve C. And D. Let's solve C and D. Okay. Let's see. Okay, should I solve? Okay, let's solve C and D. We have 32 raised to 3 over 5. 3 over 5 is the index. From our fractional index law, we can just simply do this as the 5th root of 32, because 5 is the denominator, right? Raised to power 3. 3 is the numerator. The denominator becomes the root, the numerator becomes the power. Don't forget that. Okay, so this becomes 5th root of 32, that's 2 raised to power 3, that gives you what? 8. Easy, right? Okay, let's do the D part now. D part, we have 25 raised to power 1.5. Called decimal indexes. Some students will just start finding it funny, but all decimals are actually fractions, right? All decimals are fractions. So let's just convert that decimal in the index to what? A fractional part. That's not going to be, should I do a separate? Okay, we can just do that straight ahead. That's 15 over 10. How do we get that? Just put your division sign there or over. The points represents 1. Every number after the points represents zeros. So we have only one number after the point, that's why it's 10. Suppose we have 2 numbers, it will be 100 and so on and so forth, right? Okay, but just one number after the point, and that's why it's 0. Then the points represent what? 1. Okay. Now, 15 over 10, we can reduce this. 5 can reduce this fraction in the index. 5 here, 3, 5 here, 2, right? So the whole question becomes 25 raised to power 3 over 2. Is it not? Now, from here, we can use our fractional index law again. That makes it square root of 25. The square root is because the 2 is in the denominator, right? Raised to power 3. Okay? Now, if you do that, square root of 25 is 5 raised to power 3. That will give you what? 1, 2, 5. Final answer. Alright. As usual, I like you to do this. Do this. Leave your answer in the comment section. Let's see how good you are. Okay. Now also try that. I think we did not solve B, so you can actually try that too. Okay. Just do E, F, G, and B. Leave your answer in the comment section, and don't forget. This for university today. I think we should have students that are 18 years and above. Please don't forget. You need to be what? Obedient and useful. need to be obedient and what? Useful. Please, this is Nigeria. To avoid such incident going on ASU strike and all whatnot, just have to do the right thing. So push Nigeria forward. Thank you. See you in our next class.